Good morning and welcome to New Systems for Living with Dr. Dave Allen. I am Deborah Joy, sitting alongside, of course, Dr. Dave Allen, and we both are so delighted this morning that you can join us for the next 30 minutes as we take you through another dynamic episode of New Systems for Living with Dr. Dave Allen. Of course, New Systems for Living with Dr. Dave Allen was designed to encourage and provoke us into new ways of thinking, responding, and interrelating that will lift us to higher levels of being, taking us further into our evolution towards perfection. This morning, of course, it's the 27th of August, but we want to take this up. We want to join our country in celebrating 55 years of independence. And of course, this is being aired this morning, but it will also be aired on the 31st of August, 2017, in the day. And we will let you know what time it's coming on in the day, so that you can look at this program also in the day. So we want to dedicate this program in honor of the red, white, and black that was hoisted for the first time on 31st of August, 1962. Dr. Allen, good morning.
Good morning, Deborah Joy, and good morning to all the viewers. Present day.
Dr. Allen, on the 31st of August, 1962 was a landmark and historical moment for citizens of Trinidad and Tobago as the Twin Island officially gained independence from Britain. But to you and your family, it was not only to be remembered for gaining freedom to enter bilateral and multilateral agreement with other countries, or perhaps maybe the ability to form its own military to protect its sovereignty, or to produce its own flag replacing the Union Jack. But at midnight on this auspicious occasion of the birth of our nation, this became a bit more personal and heroic for you and your family. Tell us why.
Yes, I think, Trinidad and Tobago, this nation of ours, will always be indelibly a part, imprinted in the psyche, in the soul, and in the spirit of the Allen family. And more so myself, being the son of the late Mitchell Allen. Mitchell Allen, my dad, was passed away in 1992. He played a very important role in Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, he was a part of the Marine branch that became the Coast Guard, the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard, the first set of officers that became Coast Guardsmen in 1962. And if you go down to the museum, at the Coast Guard Museum at Stobles Bay, you will see his name indelibly enshrined there as one of the first Coast Guardsmen. Came out from the Marine branch protecting the coastline of Trinidad and Tobago years gone by. And he became a Coast Guardsman. And that particular year, he was assigned the duty, a very, very important duty, a very, very extremely important duty in the history and in the formation of this country of ours. He was assigned, right, as a Coast Guardsman to a leading seaman. He was a leading seaman then, LS. And he was assigned to take down at exactly midnight on the 31st of August 1962, exactly midnight, to take down the Union Jack, which is the flag of the British Empire that once flew over Trinidad and Tobago and made all Trinbagonian at that particular time be a colony, be under colonialism. It was the birth of a new era, a new direction for this nation of ours. And I feel so proud to know that my dad was assigned that, and he did it. I mean, every single Independence Day, when you look, and I'm certain you look on the screen here and you'll see the face of that man that is pulling down that Union Jack,
Proud
saying,
moment.
Britain, your days for ruling us, Your day is for dominating us. Your day is for directing where we go, the outcome of our lives. That has ended. And he played an important part. The rumor is out there and it's still unsettled, right? And I don't want to really get into the argument because there's a lot of things that said that, that Eustace Bernard and all, they say that he was the man who also hoisted the first time the flag of Trinidad and Tobago. However, that is out for grabs. It's still an unsettled matter. The matter is still need to be settled. There's a lot of people, we have a lot of, deposition that said that. I cannot ascertain that because at that time I was just a babe, and we always work with that, but there's no confirmation as such yet. But that event always stayed in our hearts as Allens, and we feel a sense of obligation toward this nation, a sense of patriotism. That is why I've always dedicated my life towards the service of this country. In 1970, my dad, he defended this country with the revolution, the first revolution, the Black Power revolution that we had. He was posthumously, right, received an award for defending this nation against insurgent. He stood there and defended, guarded Nelson Island, and protected. So somehow, and prior to that, he was a police officer. So you find that I come from a heritage of something that is patriotic, something that is dedicated towards the upliftment of this country. Mm-hmm. And that is the fire within my heart and my soul. That is why I have chosen this. Well, I haven't chosen it. This path has chosen me, right? To continue to defend Trinidad and Tobago against insurgents, all kinds of insurgents. Not insurgents alone with guns, but insurgents with pens, and insurgents with media, whatever media, that they use as weapon to attack the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and to try to keep us down from all type of colonialism and neo-colonialism, from all types of principles and concepts that will try to take away what this nation stands for. When Dr. Eric Williams made his first speech, he spoke about democracy.
Wow.
And democracy, he said defend democracy, defend our rights, where every creed and race finds an equal place, where no race, all race must subordinate itself to the human race. And this is where I come from, and this is where we serve, And this is why this is so important to me, and this is why I try in everything that I do. I try in everything that I do. The path that has chosen me and the path in which I've followed is to bring that and to bring back that sense. If I could pass that on to every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, if I could pass it on to all the youth men that are out there who don't know what they're doing, they're misguided, trying to destroy this country and let this country be known all over the world and on papers as a country that is producing, terrorists, homegrown terrorists, a country where young black boys and Indian boys and all different things. I mean, you're bringing down your country. You're degrading your country. I don't stand here to condemn you, I want to encourage you and say, hey, think back, step back from what you're doing. And let's try to have that spirit of heroism, that spirit of building a nation. I keep appealing, put down your gun, put down your weapon. Stop the subcultures. And let us forge and build this nation that in 1962, 55 years ago, became an independent nation.
Well, I'm always amazed at how, we don't plan in terms of I don't communicate with Dr. Allen what are the questions I'm going to ask him. So he's really when he does his program, it's a spontaneous, it's on the moment thing. But I'm always amazed that he always touches on, perhaps he starts answering the question before I even asking. And you hit on it just a while ago. Our founding father and first Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Eric Williams, in his famed address to the nation on our country's first independence, shared what it means to experience true democracy. And I know you know that speech by heart, because a couple of years ago I heard you said it word for word, and even in the voice of Dr. Eric Williams himself. But I would just remind for those of us who are looking at the program and may not know the first address made by our first Prime Minister, Dr. Eric Williams. Some of the things he said about true democracy, he said that the first responsibility that devolves around you is the protection and promotion of our democracy. Democracy means much more than the right to vote, and one vote for every man and every woman of the prescribed age. Democracy means the right of others. Democracy means the equality of all in the eyes of the law, and of course it goes on and on and on and on and on. And of course the Prime Minister also, reminded us to live by the watchwords discipline, tolerance, and production. And his desire for Trinidad and Tobago and all the people of Trinidad and Tobago was that Trinidad and Tobago will walk together in unity. It's been 55 years after. Where are we on the picture of true democracy painted by our founding father, the Honorable Dr. Eric Williams?
Ms. Joy, I think that we have made a lot of advancement, and I keep appealing for that third culture. Trinidad has never really developed a culture, and sometimes the word culture itself is a misnomer. People think culture is beating drum and dancing Indian dance and music. Culture is more the way a people react and respond to situation. Right. It is the way we develop our lives. It's what controls us. We have particular ways, particular traits, and particular characteristics about ourselves that we use to, whether it's our proxemic, how we relate to each other, whether how we think, how we have fun. Everything. It's how we do business. Culture is broader than that. And what we have is that, remember, we need to understand Trinidad and Tobago. And I say Trinidad and Tobago because Tobago became amalgamated into Trinidad in 1888, right? And we became one. But prior to that, Trinidad has been a country first. The Amerindians were here. Christopher Columbus in 1498 came, and then they had the French, then the Dutch, then the Colanders, then the Spanish again, and then in 1797, so Ralph Abercrombie conquered Jose Chacon, 18 warships out there, and caused a surrender. And so we find that we have changed hands so many times, and so many different people. Then we had slavery, then we had indentureship, then we had the Portuguese, the Chinese, the Syrians, all sorts of things. So we are not a melting pot, but we are a salad bowl. And every group of people that came to this amazing nation, that how we are just about 1428 or something, square miles, and square kilometers, in fact, right? And we are not such a big country, right? But we are packed with a population of 1.28 thereof million people that comprise, different groups, majority Indo-African, different groups, and more, with migration and emigration. The dynamics is really changing, and every time we do statistic, we might be speaking from the old set of statistic, but since that old set of statistic, new dynamics have taken place. People have migrated, people have emigrated, and lots of things are happening. And what happens is that people bring their own culture from different lands, and sometimes they don't want to surrender. As Dr. Eric Williams said, we have to surrender our culture to form one culture, a Trinbagonian culture, because this is our homeland. This is our homeland. Yes, we could talk about the motherland and the fatherland, but this is now our home. And we have to develop a culture, how we respond, how we react, how we behave, how we interact with each other. And leaders must come forward now and begin, leaders that are more cosmopolitan in nature, leaders that are not trying to defend any group. We've had leaders like that in the past. We've had, and I wouldn't call any name, but we have had leaders who would want to create walls
But do you think 55 years after the address made by Dr. Eric Williams in terms of wanting to see true democracy in Trinidad and Tobago, do you think 55 years after we're experiencing that?
We've seen a lot of advancement, but it's a lot of things. I mean, after 55 years, 50 being a generation, it's a generation, an old generation, and we should move away from that and now begin to develop. As I said, we still have some old-line leaders who still want to create this divide, Indo, Afro, you understand, rather than one culture. But we find that in our music, it's changing, our chutney, our soca, our different things. You find it's an incorporation. You go to any party now and you hear a mixture of all music, and you find people taking part in all different things and representation at all levels. It is changing. We've seen from Afro Trinidad, and I'm just using that, to make the statement. We've had Afro Trinidadian being leaders. We've had mixed people being the prime minister. Then we saw Indo-Trinidadian aspiring to and not only aspiring but attaining the highest office. So we have seen great things. We've seen things like the police force, like the TTPS, or let me not say police force, but the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Army, all these different things. We've seen, once upon a time, these people it was dominated by one group. But thank God for people like Basdeo Pandey and other leaders who keep nudging and saying, listen. Let's stop that
equality
alienation. Let's look at it. Let's not defend. Yes, there were reasons, and we know there are historical reasons where certain group of people wanted to be civil servant, while others wanted to go into business, and that caused it. But as designers and architects of our society, we should really address that, because it is not what things are, but what things really are, but perception. And we have to deal with the perception. And therefore, the architect and the designers must now clear up certain perceptions, so that what we find now that we have the police service, if you look at the police service, the senior officers, the senior superintendent, different things, that was once dominated by a certain ethnic group. Now, if you notice, it's not there. The Army commanders, people in charge, you find that it's changing, right? It's changing. So we have made a lot of advancement. But
there's still more.
But there's still more. And I would like us to reach the place where we say there's no more. We've reached it. We've reached it. We've finally attained the level of our national anthem that was enshrined in 1962, the first independence, when they say, here. We're not talking about what's happening in America. We're not talking about what's happening in Great Britain. We're not talking about what's happening in France. We're not talking about what's happening in India or Africa. Here. And when we talk about here, H-E-R-E, not here. Here, H-E-R, here. Every creed and race find an equal place. And we have to reach to the point that we must say we have arrived. After 55 years, we can't be saying there's still a lot more to be done. We have to say we have arrived. We are the first nation in the world that the first nation that has attained that status. Every creed and race finds an equal place.
Well, that brings me to my next question. 55 years after, we are still considered a third world country, a third world nation. How far are we from attaining the first world status? And where is Trinidad and Tobago in its 2020 vision?
Well, remember, there's no 2020 vision again. Right? 2020 vision was a vision that the late and former Prime Minister Patrick Manning had. And as I say, sometimes, we are so divided as a nation that sometimes if you give praises to one for achievement, it seems that you belong. And in no way, I don't want anybody to believe in any way that I belong to any party and I preach party politics and anything. What what I talk about is human achievement. And I must applaud the former and late Prime Minister Patrick Manning for having a vision, setting a date. I mean, unfortunately, we were unable to attain it because of certain reasons. But he showed something, and we are all, sometimes we look at the waterfront and we think that he has wasted another money. Sometimes you hear different things. But if you go into Port of Spain, had he not developed the waterfront, would you have really feel proud of Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, it has done something to the landscape of
when you go to
Trinidad
Jamaica and you go to other places in the world, you go to Fort Lauderdale, and you see so many high rise and so much development. Had he not taken the initiative and said, listen, come hell or high water, we are going to develop a waterfront for future. I mean, we know the type of Westminster politics that we practice here, where everything you try to do for the advancement of the people is criticized by opposition party. But that was a great move. And unfortunately, we weren't able to attain it by 2020. But we are on our way. And I think that, somebody should come. I think, it has been adjusted to 2030.
And do you think that we're going to reach that target, and what can we do to accelerate the processes?
I think we could. What it needs is futuristic leaders that are not, just managers. You're not maintaining the
status quo. Yeah.
You want to have leaders who have a vision. You are not there in office for selfish reasons and selfish purposes. You are there to advance the people, and you are there to build a legacy of this nation.
And you put people and country first.
That's right.
Yeah.
You put people and you put country first. You put the development of a country, and you take pride, you build pride. What I think that we are missing is a sense of patriotism and pride in our nation. Last week, and I don't know if probably you would have had that, but last week itself we took so much pride when we saw our relay team. Our relay team got out there and one goal, defeating United States of America, Great Britain, France, Spain. When we saw our Trinbagonian Night Riders, you understand?
A lot to celebrate this independence.
A lot of things to celebrate. We have a lot of things. When we saw the Juniper Field, right, producing gas, and we, for those of you who thought we were out. Listen. We are going to rise.
It's like you said in your church service, we are like the phoenix.
Yes, we are going to rise. We are going to rise, no matter. They try to burn down town. What happened?
Well, we jamming still, even when they try to burn down town, we jamming still.
No, and we have to use that jamming in a new way. We have to use that jamming in a more constructive way.
Yes.
Jamming in the sense, that when Bob Marley say we jamming in the name of the Lord. And sometimes that word jamming may have a negative connotation. Some people think jamming is just jam.
And you relax back.
But jamming in a business sense is taking initiative and plowing forward and moving forward and advancing causes that they're not going to stop. We're going to keep on jamming until we break down whatsoever barrier, whatsoever opposition, whatsoever blockade in our way to progress, in our way to 2030, that we become not only develop world status, but become one of the greatest nations, as we proved it. We proved it in the relay, that we could do it. If we could do it in sports, and we have done it many times, we've produced Brian Lara, we've produced Miss Universe, we've produced Miss World, we've topped the world in so many, a little country like ours, we topped the world in so many things. Listen, Dr. Eric Williams was one of the leading figures, politicians in the world. We've had people like Sir Arthur Robinson, you understand? Who and Carl Hudson Phillip, Vivian Knight Paul. I mean, Lord, listen. This country continues to produce great people. And when I say this country, I'm talking about our twin island. There are people, this country was amalgamated, Trinidad and Tobago. There are those who want to pull it apart. Listen. Let me tell you something. Tobago, stick with Trinidad. Trinidad, stick with Tobago. We, together, our Dwight York, our different things, our real champions that are coming forth, together, we're going to make a mark in this world like you've never seen,
You know, Dr. Allen, you've written the book Human Potential, and in it you talk about patriotism, where you dedicated a chapter to patriotism, and you said that, you know, patriotism should now be a course that should be included in the school's syllabus. How do you think we can go about doing that?
Well, yes, I think we have to start it from the kindergarten, from the Montessori's, from all these schools, from the early childhood care centers, you know. We started there. We start building that sense of pride. We start our national anthem. You know, I started that program here at our cathedral, that every program, I insisted, and I made it mandatory that the national anthem be sung at every event, and at every church service. Why? Why did I do that? Right?
To instill national pride.
Because what I realized that these sordid souls, and I say sordid souls, you know, those who are bent on destroying this nation and giving this nation a negative view outside. You know, when people read about us, what are Trinbagonians? Who are Trinbagonians? The most violent? No. That is because they don't believe. You have to bring that at pride. And anything, even if I'm driving down the road and I take a piece of paper and I throw it outside to litter the street, that is unpatriotic.
Yes.
When we build back that pride, you know, someone was telling me in Sweden, they visited Sweden, their grandchild, and by accident they just drop a piece of paper and the little child pick it up and say, "Grandpa, no, Grandpa, we don't do that here," and give him back and say, "Listen, I will take this and put it in the bin." Those simple things. Those simple things.
And that is why countries like Sweden, I mean, they continue to be
have the highest standard of living.
Highest standard of living.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And so you're saying that it should be incorporated?
Incorporated at every event, program, more and more programs need to be done. Things, the designers have to come together. The Ministry of Sport, the Ministry of Community and Social Development got to plan more programs, more patriotic programs, more things got to be done, church services. This has to be, we have to have a special program to go across and start revamping the whole old system and bringing back.
That's right.
Pride in our nation, pride in the red, white and black. When we see that flag, I was in China in the Bird's Nest. The Bird's Nest Stadium, and it so happened that I got a seat, and when I look straight across, I sat directly opposite the Trinidad and Tobago flag, and you
felt proud.
Such pride.
Yes.
When I saw my flag amidst many other flags, I saw the red, white and black. I have pride in this nation, and I want that to be in the heart, burning in the heart of every single Trinbagonian. Yeah.
Well, I know that we're almost out of time, but I have to ask you this question before we close, because I know that, you know, the phone has been ringing constantly, and you've been sought after in Trinidad and Tobago to be on many committees. To people, you know, they're asking for your advice and for your input on many committees based on many topics in terms of how we could create a better Trinidad and Tobago. If the powers that be, and because I also know that you're a bishop, and if the powers that be should seek you out for advice and consultation, would you be open up to that?
I am always available. You know, I love consulting, right? I think that God has given me wisdom. I think that my years of sojourning on this earth, I think all my experience today, all the experience, they have prepared me for a time such as this, that I can now make a difference in our nation, not for self, not for ego, but to have a better Trinidad and Tobago for all of our citizens.
Okay.
And for our nation.
So you've heard it, TNT. I mean, you know, this is not about in terms of, this is about a better Trinidad and Tobago. This is about citizens' government. So on behalf of Dr. Dave Allen and myself, we want to take this opportunity to wish the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, happy independence, and let us be proud to raise the red, white, and black. I'm Deborah Joy saying, God bless you and God bless Trinidad and Tobago.